In a world where most things are valued by quantity, by tangibility, by results, I feel this path of the sacred feminine is difficult in that it challenges us from that paradigm to trust something more intangible, more mysterious, but yet so much deeper and felt. And if we look at this spiral, which is so core to our symbolism in this space, the spiral is always going infinitely inwards and infinitely outwards. The masculine is the spiral spiraling out into the world. And the feminine is the spiral spiraling in. And in the same way, we can look at the world and consider the infinite possibilities of who we can be. Creation, manifestation, money, I want to be a billionaire, I want to own homes. All these possibilities that the world has laid out before us. There is an infinite well of possibility for the feminine as well. And I feel as women, we know this intrinsically. We know there is something we are meant to tap into. But most of our lives, we end up searching in a world that's teaching us those external ways and not the internal ways, the internal depths. And just to remember that the tangibility of everything you've considered as a possibility outside, it's equally infinite inwards. So what is the billionaire version of feeling? What is the billionaire version of intuition? What is the billionaire version of all the things we're seeking outside? And the reason I picked today's topic, obviously this conversation is very alive in all of us, right? The masculine, the feminine, what is it? And a big part of it is we know there's an imbalance somewhere in the world, but also deep inside our own self, our own life, our own body. Something feels not whole, not harmonious, and not tapping into our potential. Because all the potentials we talk about, it's manifestation, it's this, it's that. That's beautiful, we want that. But there is a balance of those energies, of those polarities that still doesn't make sense, because in truth, if we're going to be really, really honest, masculine and feminine, they're opposites. So how can they be in harmony if they're opposites? Some days me and Ihab are having our things, our energies, and we are pure opposites. And part of me thinks, how the fuck is this gonna work out? We are literally opposites. I want to live in Bali, he wants to live in Dubai. How is this gonna merge somewhere? How is this gonna be a dance rather than a war? And literally we live in a world of wars because there's so many places inside us that we haven't been able to access this place where there is harmony between opposites. Because at the core, one of the main things we're fighting for in our world, what is it? It's equality, as if we're supposed to be equal. But in essence, that's really not possible because we're opposites. So the healing and the reclaiming comes from reframing how we are relating to these energies. And for me, one of the main ways we have dislocated our truth, our alignment, is by thinking we have to be equal or thinking we have to be balanced in that I have to have this 50% and this 50%. And at the core of it, the biggest realization we can have is that there is one that has to be dominant within. And in 90% of men, that dominance has to be the masculine. And our men have been very demasculinized in our world because there's become shame on the masculine. But really, it's the wounded masculine that they're afraid of. And for women, 90% of us, that dominant is the feminine. And if the divine feminine is calling you, if this space is calling you, if you're here today, then that's a truth for you. And so in our life, when something feels out of alignment, it means we're not operating from that feminine space. And trust me, I have been there. Most of my life was that. Most of life, if you just go and how this society initiates you, an initiation simply means sparking something. When a kid is 5 or 6, they start to teach him how to read and learn numbers. I worked in an eco-conscious kindergarten here in Amman. This was my first job after my old job. And the way they teach in this system, it's based on Rudolf Steiner and Emilio Regia and just more enlightened educational systems. They don't want to teach them any mathematics, any numbers, any reading. It's all about allowing the child to become more and more present in their body and with forms and colors and interactions. And it's almost like they've reclaimed a different kind of initiating the human being, because a child, when did we receive all our initiations? Since we were 2, 3, 4, even 1, even before conception, up to this very day. All the focus we had in school, all the focus even in relationships, how we have to show up. So every day we were receiving initiations of how we need to show up in the world and what is the meaning of the feminine and what is the meaning of the masculine and what is the purpose of the feminine and what is the purpose of the masculine. Even in the histories we absorbed, the stories we learned about our culture, our society, we were told things about the world that either amplified our truth or dimmed it.